Until about 2023, Taylor Atwood was considered as the greatest natural powerlifter of all time. Taylor's most notable performance was the Powerlifting America Raw Nationals in 2021. This is where he put up a performance that would be ahead of his time. In the 74 kilogram class, he did what many thought was impossible, totaling 838.5 kg, and this was the greatest pound for pound performance we had seen in the IPF and natural raw powerlifting on a wider scale, according to pretty much all of the powerlifting pound for pound formulas. By this time, Taylor Atwood was already a two-time world champion in the IPF in 2018 and 2019, and in the 2 years before this, 2017 and 16, he had won 2 silver medals. And then following this legendary performance in 2021, Taylor Atwood at the 2022 World Championships won another gold medal. 3 gold medals in 3 consecutive World Championships in the 74 kilogram class. Taylor was considered the best because he could win world titles and he could put up massive pound for pound performances. After Taylor's world title in 2022, Taylor's next mission was the Sheffield title. This was the first SBD Sheffield event. Sheffield is the biggest and most competitive competition in powerlifting, bringing together 12 of the best lifters from all different weight classes and making them fight each other to see who is the king of kings in powerlifting.
Want to see me destroy everyone at Sheffield? Get your tickets today.
Taylor came into the competition with confidence. Everyone was saying that Taylor would take his crown and this would cement his legacy as the greatest powerlifter of all time. However, due to Taylor not feeling the best on the day, I believe he was suffering with a few injuries, Taylor ended up in 5th place with a disappointing for him 777.5 kilogram total. Taylor had been on the top of powerlifting for so long, so this came as a shock to him and a shock to the powerlifting world that he didn't even get on the podium. However, Taylor had a chance to redeem himself at the World Championships in Malta 2023 a few months later. However, Taylor Atwood again totaled the same amount that he did at Sheffield, actually coming 3rd at the World Championships, his worst position at a World Championships ever. By this time, Taylor Atwood was 34 years old, and it seemed like his age was catching up to him. He was getting injuries that were affecting his training, and he just didn't look like the Taylor Atwood that we saw in 2021. To make matters worse, as Taylor's strength seemed to be on the decline, a lot of new, young, up-and-coming powerlifters seemed to be accelerating quickly, progressing quickly, and looked like they could outperform Taylor Atwood in terms of pound-for-pound strength. Most notably, Austin Perkins, who was in the 74 kilogram class and was currently competing in the USAPL, a different federation from the IPF. Austin Perkins, a couple of months after Taylor's disappointing performance at the World Championships, totaled 851 kilograms. A performance that almost objectively surpassed Taylor Atwood's greatest performance in 2021, making Austin Perkins arguably the pound-for-pound king. After Taylor Atwood's 2 performances in 2023, people were really starting to question, was Taylor Atwood's reign as the GOAT of powerlifting over? Would he even be the best 74? At the age of 34, was Taylor Atwood's career at the top done? After the World Championships in June of 2023, Taylor Atwood took a break from competing for 16 months. And the question on everyone's mind was, would Taylor Atwood come back with dominance, with the strength that we were used to seeing? Well, when Taylor Atwood stepped on the platform in October of 2024, Taylor Atwood surprised us by moving up a weight class to the 83 kilogram weight class, And here he gave a statement to the powerlifting world. He totaled 830 kg with ease in the 83 kilogram class, putting him amongst the best 83s in the world. However, Taylor's 830 kilogram total was easy. It was nowhere near his top end, and people started to ask themselves the questions again. Could Taylor Atwood, at the age of 36, come back and become the best in his weight class once again? Taylor's next competition would be in 2025, April, the Classic Open National Championships. This is where he would face Joe Borenstein, the young up-and-coming kid who was 13 years younger than him. The kid who many people claimed would be the next GOAT. Could Taylor Atwood beat the young prodigy? Well, to be honest, most people thought there was no chance that Taylor could do this. Yes, Taylor had totaled 830 kg with ease. However, Joe Borenstein in training showed us that he looked like his top end was around 900 kg. And most people said that Taylor's top end was around maybe 860, 870 kg on a good day. No one really thought that Taylor could come and beat Joe Borenstein. However, Taylor surprised us all in April of 2025. After squats and bench press had finished, we knew that this would be a battle. After Joe Borenstein's second attempt, he solidified a 900.5 kg total. One of the greatest performances we had seen in powerlifting, an unofficial world record. Taylor, after his second attempt, had a total of 876 kilograms, and on his third attempt he loaded exactly what he needed to win the battle and overtake Joe Borenstein's total, and this deadlift would solidify himself as king of powerlifting. However, unfortunately, Taylor Atwood just didn't have the strength on the day to beat the prodigy. However, Taylor had still proved to the powerlifting world that he was here to fight. He had put up the second best 83 kilogram total in the IPF despite not pulling his third attempt, and it looked like he was just behind Joe Borenstein in terms of top end strength. Taylor Atwood unfortunately wasn't able to go to the World Championships because America only brings one lifter from each weight class to the World Championships. However, Taylor's next competition would be a couple of weeks ago in July. This would be the Pan American Powerlifting Championships, and at this competition, Taylor Atwood would be fighting to go over Joe Borenstein's world record, which he had set at the World Championships of 890 kg. This was so that he could get an invite to Sheffield in 2026, where he would be able to get another shot at becoming the King of Kings at Sheffield. However, if I'm being honest, Taylor Atwood did not look as strong as he did at the Powerlifting American Nationals. His squat was a little bit weaker. On his bench, he actually broke the world record on the bench with a massive 218.5 kg bench press. But once again, his bench press did look weaker than it did at the Powerlifting American Nationals. However, Taylor Atwood still looked strong on the day, and it came down to his third attempt, 356.5 kg. And a few months ago at the Powerlifting American Nationals, it looked like Taylor Atwood would be able to pull this weight. This weight would give him an invite to Sheffield. This deadlift was for everything. However, he fell short, barely lifting the weight off the ground, ending up with still a very impressive total of 866.5 kg. However, Taylor Atwood had fallen short once again. And after this performance, the question inevitably is, will Taylor Atwood, at the age of now 37, ever get back to the level where he is on top again? Or has it got to the point in Taylor's career that is inevitable, where he slowly fades and becomes less and less significant in powerlifting? because someone's strength shouldn't really regress, and the fact that Taylor's strength regressed over the last few months really shows that Taylor may be really battling some injuries. He isn't able to really put together multiple weeks of really solid training due to injuries. The question is Taylor Atwood's career at the top done? Well, firstly, you could argue yes. Taylor Atwood is 37 years old. He's almost a masters lifter. He's had his time at the top, and yes, he is strong. However, Joe Borenstein is just progressing so quickly. He's looking so strong. He can execute so well. It may just be Joe Borenstein's era. And this is sad, but it happens to every great athlete. Everyone gets to a point where they start to not progress and they can't keep up with the new kids on the block. However, there is one glimmer of hope, and this is the fact that Taylor Atwood once again is going to have a long break between his next competition. Because he isn't going to get the invite for Sheffield, his next competition is most likely going to be the Powerlifting American Nationals in about 8 months' time. And so Taylor Atwood will have about 8 months of solid training where he doesn't have to go to his top end. This is like his break that he took back in 2023 and came back so strong. Maybe these 8 months will be just enough training for Taylor Atwood to come back strong as ever one last time and face Joe Borenstein. This is a hope. I hope that Taylor Atwood can do this. Taylor Atwood, despite years on top, still seems hungry. I think he does want one last performance at the top. And maybe these 8 months of solid training where he doesn't have to compete will be enough for us to see prime Taylor Atwood one last time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.